Part 2, Chapter 17, Saturday night, 11 p.m. Bob, Alexa, and Eleanor arrived at Greg and Brid's house at 11 sharp. Greg opened the door as they walked up the path from the driveway, and they went in. The room was filled with magic. There were candles everywhere, mostly in silver candelabras. A 9-foot square canvas had been placed in the center of the room, and on it was drawn a pentacle with the directions marked. There was incense in the air, but none of the three could identify the scent. It was not sweet or flowery, but had a musk foundation. It seemed to smell of the smoke from Brid's forge, but those two scents did not account for the total effect. Everyone took off his or her clothes. Bob went into the bathroom and showered. There was a stack of towels. He took a towel, dried himself, and came out into the room again. The others did the same. Cullen did not seem to be here. Perhaps he would arrive later. Greg said, "Each of you take your position. Do you remember what it was?" "We do," said Eleanor. "You may sit or kneel at your place until the ritual begins. I will strike a small gong to start the proceedings. At that point everyone will rise, and Brid will enter the room. She will take over from there." They sat quietly until Greg got up, walked over to his gong, and struck it once. Everyone arose. Brid entered the room from a long hallway and walked to the top point of the pentacle. "I have cleared this space. It is a holy space, fit for a true rite of the Tuatha Dé." Brid raised her hands and spread them to the sides, making her body into a large letter Y. Her eyes were glowing, and white fog began to pour from her mouth as she spoke. "I call my people in from the plains where they have hidden from their enemies for millennia. Tonight we celebrate the reunion of the Tuatha Dé." The fog eddied and swirled around the assembled celebrants, as if the shadowy remnants of an entire race had come to Brid's call. "Oh, my people, welcome our guests. Alexa of the East is our heroine. Eleanor of the South is our child and hope for the future. Greg of the West is my beloved consort, who with his wand of power activated the pool of the uncreated and gave me substance again. And Bob of the North is our hero. It is to these guests that we owe our manifestation on this plane in this reality." There was a swelling roar all around the pentacle. It rose to a peak and then subsided. "My people, the Tuatha Dé welcome you. They express their admiration and gratitude for your heroic feats. Live, Pentacle! Live, Pentacle! Live, Pentacle!" With Brid's third utterance, the points of the pentacle that lay on the ground took form in dimensional reality. They rose from behind the guests until the points hovered over their heads, and the sides of the triangles merged. The 5 of them stood inside the giant cauldron that had formed. "This, then, is the cauldron of my father, Dagda, manifested again in this dimension. As we stand in it, we are cleansed and purified. That which has been damaged is made whole. That which has been lost is restored. That which has been defiled by ego is humbled and made pure. Father, my Father, I recreate your cauldron in the hope that someday we may be strong enough to bring you through the portal. Grow strong, Father, and take our hands when the thing can be done. Enfold us, Pentacle! Enfold us, Pentacle! Enfold us, Pentacle!" Now the cauldron split into 5 sections. Each section formed wings on the back of the celebrant before it. When the wings were fully formed, Brid spoke again. "Follow me now. Let us see the infinite all from the creation to the destruction." What followed were a series of complex abstract landscapes. Traversing them all took an enormous amount of time, actually infinite time. All questions were answered. What, why, whence, whither? They saw the layered multiverses from inside and from outside, and when they had all returned from the trip, the wings fell back from them, left the world of 3 dimensions, and folded up again into the pentacle drawn on the floor. The explorers were left standing in the mist, stupefied. Brid lowered her arm. "The manifestation ends," said Brid. "I used the pentacle to show you two things, my friends, the cauldron of my father and the all and everything. Those are the things I wanted to see. Some day, when you are strong enough, you can do this ritual, and the pentacle will assume the form that you request. I have a gift for each of you. I will come around the circle, and as I give it to you, I will name it." Brid stood next to Alexa. She touched her forehead and said, "Healing." Brid stood next to Eleanor. She touched her forehead and said, "Music." Brid walked past Greg and stood next to Bob. "Making," she said, touching his forehead. Then Brid went back to Greg. "And you, my love, because I am immortal, and I cannot conceive of existence without you. Immortality." She kissed his forehead. Brid walked over to the gong and struck it. Greg went to the wall switch and turned on the lights. Brid had completed her work, and suddenly she seemed to be the same woman whom they had met in Greg's office. She was friendly, casual, charming. She made no reference to what had just passed. She was filled with happy, cheerful chatter, and it was a good thing she did that, because the other four stood there, still stupefied.